This update we just had has been very polarizing for the right and wrong reasons. Notoriously, it has been mostly about the new city skins, which have been available in the game, and they can only be acquired after a certain amount of spending. They do look pretty cool, especially the Phoenix one in my opinion. But what makes them so broken is you do not have to use them to apply the buffs. So you can, I think this mostly applies for like rally and garrison players who can use, let's say, a health skin, and then you can have the buff for this one, which in this case is 10% attack. 10% attack in a rally garrison scenario is pretty big. So obviously this can skew the results in their favor. But also this applies to AoE, and I don't think the AoE applies half of it, so the others get like 5% attack, resource cost, and all that. But this has obviously been a very controversial decision to implement into the game, because this is also a subscription skin basically. In order to get it, you need to spend like $500,000, which is a crazy amount, especially as a free-to-play at the Fathom. But also you need to spend, I believe, 20k a year to have it. You know, if you don't spend, you will not have access to it, which is just brutal. And I don't know if it's going to change, if it's going to last. I think this needs to change, or at least at the very sense tweak it to be somewhat in the normal realm. So we'll see how that goes. But among other ones is for the people who are leadership, finally been recognized in the game after 7 years. But as someone who has been in leadership for like 5 years out of my 7 years of playing, I've only registered 320 days. And I know it's an active alliance, but I've never been in a kingdom that is below A. I've always been like middle, high. I've even been in Imperial kingdoms as an officer. So I believe this has also been a mistake on the data. I've been told is going to be tweaked a bit further. So obviously, having this not applied to you feels, I don't know, it feels like a cheap blow, because it, I believe, kind of undermines the importance of leadership. Personally, because I've been in there for so long and only registered like not even a year worth of days. But I believe they can change it. And I think this is a good step to finally acknowledge leadership, because leadership to this point has been like a very thankless full-time job and you don't get paid. So to get like 40k gems total and some cosmetics is a nice way to at least appreciate and shed some light on leadership, who has been doing, especially in the recent years, there's always been something to do extra, but also there have been some quality of life changes which have been helpful to manage the kingdom. Speaking of quality of life, we have the Fort and Bar Finder, which is pretty nice. But now, the biggest change for the free-to-play is Bastions. So if you're doing Bastions right now, if you're in KVK right now, this should be your whole list. You should be doing every single quest with a Kahar whistle. Because why would you not? It's free crystal. I don't know how long will this stay, but this, if you do some math, you can do pretty much Kahars from day one in KVK. Each bone is 45k. And you do these daily 15 quests or 45k is like 675k per day times 50 days in KVK. You're looking at 33.7 million crystals just from Kahar whistles. Okay, this is not even taking account the crystals you get from the quests. So with the quests, I did some math. You can get like, I took an average like 25k. Obviously the training quests take 45. So obviously you're not going to be doing too many training quests, but you're probably going to be doing one a day or sometimes more depending on the events. But I'd say 25 is a good spot, because you'll also not be having cultural exchange max from day one. As a free-to-play, you're probably going to be having a max like a week after, maybe even earlier, depending on your priorities. So even from these, you can get up to like 17 million. So for just bastions, you could be having over 50 million crystals, which is huge. Okay, this is a big change. Personally, I've been loving the Canyon ones because they're the easiest. Obviously, they don't grant a lot of crystals, even at max cultural exchange, but they can also help if you have the weekly crystal quest for the Canyon ones, because they usually take the longest to complete. So if you can gem one or two per day, you can cut that in half, and you can get possibly more tiers of rewards sooner, which is extra crystals for you to use. So it has been a very, very substantial change. Also, the fact that you can, go to your bastions. You have 20 refresh chances, not just 5. There's no, I don't think you can pretty much ever use 20 chances because the game remembers your choices now. If you don't like a certain bastion and you remove it once or twice, they stop giving it to you. Same way, if you like doing some quests, they will start giving you more of them. So for me, it's the Canyon quests. I do a Canyon quest, and then right away, the next one is also a Canyon quest. So obviously, spending more gems on it feels a bit sufficient to get the extra whistle. And if you like Canyon, it's a nice way to get extra chances in, and you get something out of it. Now, so usually I get to like 80 million crystals spent without too much of, time management. And you need to get at least 75. I think 70 is the benchmark for the conversion stone. But I believe you can probably get consistently 100 million if this change stays. If you're doing all the chaining, if you're being on track with all the ways to get crystals, and you're really diligent about it, I believe you can get to 100 million crystals now without too much of a sweat. So that is a very good change because that sets you up for the next KVK, which you're able to use all those crystal chests right at the start, so you can kind of have that infinite loop of having the perfect start each KVK, which is very good. I think this is a very, very good change, and I hope they do not tweak it. If there is a change they have to tweak, I hope it's the city skins. Now, speaking of city skins, if you're entering in KVK, you're going to be having access to the new city skin, which is 8% defense for all troop types. And I'm getting that as soon as I'm in next KVK. Like the first thing I do, I'll probably get that skin because it's great. Because currently in the shop you have options for Topkapi Palace, which is, nice if you're having a QSH and you're running chaining on the map, which is pretty nice. I use it for that purpose. And then from the other ones you have the infantry city skin, which is nice, 10% defense, but you have the Twilight Falls, which has fallen off in the recent years because skill damage is not that frequent. So having a slam dunk choice of a city skin, which provides not just defense to infantry but all troop types, is a big win. And this is just another power creep that you can get. I think getting 6 coins is not that hard as it used to be before. There's a lot of achievements that give you coins. And speaking of rewards, the acclaim system has been very, very doable. I'm already halfway to getting the max acclaim that I need for the conversion stones, and I only have like 5 million kills in this first zone. So acclaim system has been very free-to-play friendly, and I think it's very doable as a free-to-play and like most players, because acclaim also counts if you're joining a really good garrison, if you're joining rallies. So make sure to invest in your kingdom's garrisons and rallies, which can really do a lot of damage to the opponent. So you get a lot of more sevs, you get a lot more contribution to get yourself closer to the acclaim, the final acclaim tiers. So overall, the city skins controversy does not really, impact free-to-plays, so to speak, to like on a collection level, because you're never gonna get it. I think it mostly affects the very top Imperiums, which can use this tactic of surrounding a flag, surrounding a fort with these buffs, and they can have advantage stats-wise to get better trades, win the objective faster, something like that. So this can really hurt the lower echelon of players, and this just feels like a bigger gap for them to move away with. So obviously this Bastion change affects everyone, and obviously this is not just for free-to-plays, everyone will have access to this, but I believe this is going to be a very healthy change overall. And if they if they completely remove the skins from the game, and this continues to be the same, I think we're going to be having a lot more balanced field situation. So this is just maybe hopeful thinking, but I dare say this has been the biggest free-to-play impact from the game since Commander Swap. So almost like a year since the Commander Swap. So let me know what you think in the comments if you enjoy it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.